you need to maintain.
Okay.
Like every single bit of money you've got, unless nothing's a guarantee, but unless you're pretty sure that this is going to bring you money back, don't squander it. Like I know you have to learn from your own mistakes, you know, but I never had anybody telling me that when I was younger.
Well,
like,
you see where you're lucky? A lot of the things that you could have messed up on, you're not having to do it because we've already done that for you. When, like he said, when we were younger, we didn't have anyone ahead of us to kind of, you know what I mean, kind of set that standard. But now, you can call me anytime knowing that I'll say, yeah, don't do this, do that. You get what I'm saying? Go do this instead of doing that. That's a waste of your time. Whereas this will make more doing. You get what I'm saying?
As bad as it sounds, the main downfall is women. And women are not the problem. It's our lack of discipline for women that's the problem. Our main downfall women. When I was growing up, almost everything I was doing was for women. Whether you're buying a flash car.
Popping bottles.
Yes, buying a flash car.
Flash car. Designer
clothes. Part of designer clothes and flash clothes sometimes is just flex on the man them.
Yeah.
In a very, it's a weird thing, but you're flexing on the man them to show them that man's got peas.
More money than you.
I've got money. So part of it's flexing on the man them, but inadvertently you're getting women on the back of flexing. So like, I remember when I started going gym properly, I thought I was going to prison, but I didn't. And then I got realizing that girls like muscles. Then I started hanging around with certain guys who had muscles, and I wanted to have bigger muscles than them, so that I look like I'm the biggest guy in the group. You know, and I always say that when we went to Cancun, that was funny because
I saw the pictures.
There was me, you, P1, D-Way, and there was a whole heap of gymming guys.
I was gonna repost it, and I thought to myself, you know when when people used to put the filter on the pictures before slamming it on Facebook and that. I looked at the picture and said, look at these clowns. Everyone's topless in the club.
And that's for me is that what it was, and I think the younger generation growing up, like you lot have got it so hard because when we was younger, we could make £1,000 a month and still flex and move around.
Yeah.
You can't make £1,000 a month and do anything, but you could make £1,000 and still flex when we was younger. You can't do that now.
So what's the equivalent of £1,000 today?
I'll probably say maybe about $2.5 grand.
2.5.
But I remember
and you see like
you could get a room. I was renting a room in 2006, I think, for like maybe 3-4 bills. Remember, petrol was nothing. Insurance was nothing. Remember, 21-year-olds are paying like 6-7 bills to insure their car. I was paying like 80 quid. Like everything it's not the same. And having a car is like that's like when you become a man. When you first get your first car, like that's your space.
My first car I was paying about 60 a month.
Yeah, it was cheap.
It was cheap. I had a Punto. Yeah, I was paying 60 a month. And when me and Manny was working in Carphone warehouse, our salary was 8 bills a month.
And you could still and you had money.
No. But hear the joke. Hear the joke. Remember, you was at Carphone.
Yeah.
What did 8 bills go to? Straight to tax.
To tax.
Yeah. Because man was making so much on commission that you never saw your salary. Your salary was just straight into your tax.
My point is that you still had money. You still felt you didn't feel broke. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like people now earning that feel broke. People are earning 2K,
and
2.5, and they feel broke.
Living at home as well on top of it. So imagine living at home and you're making minimum 2 a month. Good months, you might get 3.5 if you was hungry.
How many hours was you doing?
Huh?
How many hours was you doing?
Like I used to come on off days sometimes just to close a contract real quick. Because what would happen is I knew like I used to study football. So if I wasn't meant to be in at certain times of the day, like I'll just walk in quickly, know the football will be busy, and just go home. Yeah. That's greed. That's greed. But it is what it is. But yeah, that's why even the other day when I was uploading all the pictures from that era, all the Ralph Lauren tops, all the time, brand new Ralph, spending on designer all the time, crazy. But yeah, it goes back to what Gabe was saying. He was basically trying to outstunt of a man.
Yeah, it's hard to back to your question about independent. Yeah. It says in the dictionary, free from outside control, not subject to another's authority, or not depending on another for livelihood or subsistence. Okay. Not depending on another for livelihood or subsistence. How do you pronounce it? Subsistence? Subsistence. Yeah. Which means you're not. If I'm relying on people to come in to buy drinks, to book a private hire space, to use me for consultancy. I'm not independent. I'm dependent on them giving me money.
But you can pivot. I think you are dependent. You are in the way you're explaining it. in this very closed way, you are dependent. You are dependent. Everyone is dependent.
No. It says here, dependent on another for livelihood.
Yeah.
Well, how did you pronounce that word?
Subsistence.
Like, if you're dependent on that. So, as I said, if someone gave me 4 mil today, I know that I can live off that for the next 40 years. Yeah. So I can say I'm independent.
Okay, cool.
Because I don't need no one's money.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But I still think that the way you're framing your independence to then say you're not independent is strange, because
I'm an entrepreneur. Yes, I'm self-employed.
You're entrepreneur.
Yes.
You're self-employed. Yes, but you can pivot into something else. If one thing fails, you can pivot, and now
it doesn't matter. Same way you can leave.
I know what you're saying.
And go get another job.
I know what you're saying. But not everyone can do that, and that's why I think they're dependent. Because some people can't be self-employed. Some people don't have skill, or they don't want to have skills. They're dependent because.
But why do we believe that if someone's self-employed, that they're far apart from someone who's employed?
How so?
There's no. I don't see the main difference. There's
a skill gap.
No. I'm talking about the concept or the context of someone who's making money, being employed, or someone who's making money being self-employed. So let's just use an example of. Okay. I can just use a simple example of a restaurant.
Yeah.
You've got a restaurant manager who I'm paying him his salary. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We are both getting paid from who?
The consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as I might transfer the money to him, and the customer's going to give it to him directly, we're both being paid by the consumer, by the customer.
Yeah.
There's no difference between the two of us. I just own the business.
But I do think
we're both reliant on that's why I say to my staff, like, you know what, these people pay us, you know.
Yeah.
I look after them, they pay both of us.
But then the difference is between the self-employed and the employed. One second. Yeah. Between the self-employed and the employed is, if you're employed and you let's even say you're a bartender versus a mobile bartender. Okay. One's employed, one's self-employed, right? So the bartender that's employed, if he gets fired, for example, he has to rely on another bar manager to hire him. Okay. Whereas the mobile bartender can say, "There's no work in London, I'm going to Sheffield."
And he can decide to go and move to Sheffield as well.
But then you're still relying on the mercy of first the bar manager and then the consumer. So I think there's more hoops to jump through.
And if business slows down in London, I decide there's a gap in Sheffield. I've got, like, I get your idea.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I get your idea, but the reality is that I still need. I'm still relying on someone for my livelihood or subsistence.
I feel like
how do you pronounce the word?
I think it's subsistence.
Subsistence.
I think it's subsistence.
Let me actually play it and see how it's pronounced. Hold on.
Crazy thing, I said that to a staff member the other day about the importance of customer service, and saying, if your facial expression looks like you're upset at work, subsistence.
Subsistence.
You wasn't right.
No, I said subsistence. You said something else,
bro.
No, we'll do VAR. We'll do VAR. Subsistence.
But I said it to the staff member. I said, if your face looks like you're upset at work, you're putting a bad energy out there, then I'll get a bad Google review. Then I get bad Google review. That looks bad out there. Then that person might have had 2-3 friends who went to book the venue. You're asking me for more hours. I might put someone else instead. You know what I mean? Someone else who's more lively, who's more, you know what I mean, cheerful. That person's gonna get hours. And now I've lost 3 bookings because of you. You get what I'm saying? Whereas those 3 bookings could have been because of you, and you could have had the more hours you wanted. You get what I'm saying? So for me, there's some people that have been to the business that have been lovely as hell, like great, fantastic people. But there's been a few bad seeds. But regardless of both, I still treat both with utmost respect, because you can't beat me. That's one. And regardless, if good or bad, you had a good or bad experience, you're always going to have the same comment about me personally. You're always going to be like, oh, you know what, my man was very polite, regardless of, even if you didn't have the experience you wanted. So you can't have nothing to say about me. You get what I'm saying?
I get your idea of independent, but trust me, same way he's dependent on staff. He can't do it all by himself.
I understand what you're saying.
On customers booking, he can't do it by himself.
I do get what you're saying.
Like it's I think people have this idea when you're a boss, you know. And I always say that. I remember when one lady said to me, "Oh gosh, she can't wait to leave her job to be the boss." I said, "You're gonna come across the real boss, your customers. Like you're now a direct channel and line to abuse from your customers. Now. Yeah. Before you could hide under the, oh, I work for Tesco's. Now it's you directly that come into abuse."
Some of the things you said prior is a contradiction of what you're saying now, though. So like you said, no, because of the knowledge you have, you'll never be poor. Is that not a freedom?
Poor mentally. Yeah. And no matter where you put me, because of just how I am, there's no way you're gonna put me that I'm not gonna make it.
There you go. So is that not I know what you're saying in terms of like when you have a business, you're essentially a slave to the business, the staff, the consumer. You serve them more than they serve you. I get that. But then with you as an individual, with the skills you have, the knowledge you have, no matter where you can be placed on this earth, you will be successful in some capacity.
That's just because of me.
Yeah. So is that not in a way the independence and the freedom that I'm speaking about?
No, because if it means I've got to go and get a job. The same way when the pandemic hit, you know, I was my friends were able to put me in the right position to go and do van driving.